Welcome to the first in a series of videos covering Armored Brigade, the real-time tactical war game currently available at www.armoredbrigade.com. Please note that the version that you will see in this video is a current build, which is different than the freeware version available at the game's website. This first video will cover the basics of setting up a scenario. This is the scenario generation screen. This is the first step in starting up a scenario. Here you will be able to select not only the two countries that will square off in your battle, but the month and year that the battle occurs, the type of forces, the size of the map, and the type of missions. First, let's look at the countries available. If you have the freeware version, or if you download the freeware version after watching this video, you will see the countries that are available represented by their flags here across the top of the menu. The freeware version of Armored Brigade is set in 1987. Future versions of the game will have an expanded database that covers the entire decade of the 1980s. Next, we need to select the countries that will square off in our battle. Force A is the human-controlled side, and Force B will be the AI-controlled side. You can select these countries by either scrolling through the menu, or you can click on a flag here at the top and it will jump to that country. Same for Force B. You can scroll through and select the country that you want the AI to use. Now we need to select the forces that will be available to both the human player as well as the computer opponent. You can set the combat power, which is the amount of points you have to purchase your units. You can go all the way up to 50,000. You can select the force type, which determines what percentage of those points that you have allocated will be available to each type of forces in the game. Here you see we have mechanized infantry. You have the ability to select a dynamic force, which is not bound by any one specific force type. And finally, you can select an armored force. You can select to purchase the units yourself for not only you but for the AI as well, or you can have the computer purchase the forces available to yourself and or the AI. We also want to select if a particular side has air superiority, which would prohibit the other side from having access to aircraft, or if the air superiority is currently contested, you would leave it at balanced. We also have neutral units, basically civilians, that can appear on the map, and that can be set here. Next, we need to select the size of the map that our upcoming battle will take place on. Armored Brigade allows you to select a map up to 15 kilometers square to conduct your fight. You can adjust the height and the width of the map to your liking. Also, there are several terrain types. You have summer, barren, desert, jungle, winter, and autumn. Your selection will determine the type of terrain that is displayed in-game. Water type can be determined from our menu here as well. Varied simply means that the water type will vary depending on what is included in the actual terrain map file. So impassable water will remain impassable water, and fordable water will remain fordable. You can change that to have all water impassable, or frozen, or fordable. Ground conditions limit the off-road maneuverability and impose a penalty when fair, poor, or bad ground conditions exist. Finally, with the map, you can set the destruction level that will be randomly generated when the map is loaded. The higher the percentage of destruction on the map, the more rubble and craters you will encounter. One of the unique and great features of Armored Brigade is variable time of day and lighting conditions. Here you can see a 24-hour block, which represents night in the black, gray represents twilight, sunrise, or sunset, and then this white color represents daytime. We can set the length of the day, as you can see here, and we can set the length of the twilight, as demonstrated here. Visibility is affected by the time of day that the battle is occurring. Here you can see we have selected daytime, and the maximum visibility at this time is 4,000 meters. We can change this if we want before our battle begins, and you see we have a variety of options available. You can go to night, and again your options go from 60 meters of visibility to a maximum of 600 meters of visibility at night. As I mentioned, one of the unique features of Armored Brigade is the variable and dynamic lighting. If we start a battle towards the end of the night, shortly before sunrise, as the battle progresses, your visibility will increase once the game moves to twilight, and then if you're still playing and the game moves to daytime, then the visibility will again increase to the daytime setting that corresponds with what you set here at the beginning. So if we went from 600 meters at night and then we move it to twilight as the game moves, you would have 1,449 meters, and then when the sun rises and you have daytime, then your visibility would increase to 4,000 meters. And it actually is not a increment, it's not a straight jump from one value to the next. The value gradually increases as the game progresses. Next, we have to select the type of mission that both sides will carry out. Here in the menu, the mission refers to what the player side will be tasked to do. If you select meeting, you're conducting a meeting engagement. The computer objective and missions are driven off of your missions. So in a meeting engagement, the AI forces are also conducting a meeting movement to contact type mission. You can select defend for yourself, and in this instance you are defending objectives and the computer will be attacking and trying to seize those objectives. Or you can select advance, and then the roles are reversed. You will be the aggressor moving to secure objectives that the computer is defending. Whenever a advance or defend mission is selected, whoever is defending can also have the option of having dug-in units, dug-in and fortified units, or no pre-built defensive positions. They will strictly be limited to taking advantage of the terrain and surroundings around them for cover and concealment. We can determine what side of the map the opposing players will start from. Force A, obviously, again, is the human-controlled side. So you can select if you want to start on the western edge, southern, eastern, or northern edge. The AI opponent will start on the opposite edge. Next we have the number of objectives that will be placed on the map. This is determined based on the size of the forces and the size of the maps and the type of mission that you are conducting. You can set it from a maximum number down to a minimum number, depending on the variables that determine the number of objectives. Lastly, one of the additional features of Armored Brigade that you will not see anywhere else is the estimated time limit. This is driven by several factors, much like the number of objectives. We're going to look at the size of the forces, the size of the map, the type of missions, and also, in this instance, the number of objectives that are required to complete your mission. In this instance, based on what we have selected in our example, this battle can last up to approximately 3 hours and 8 minutes,